Year 9, it's just Mr. Davis here from Art, wanting to talk you through some of the options that we've got on offer for you next year, and hopefully you're interested in taking within the art and photography department. So the first option that we've got on offer for you is AQA Fine Art. Now, what is fine art? It is ultimately you having the opportunity to continue the artistic journey that you've done in Key Stage 3, where you'll continue to develop and learn about different processes, use different tools and techniques and materials to create lots of different pieces of artwork. Now, when we say those words fine art, what we mean by that is you will get the opportunity to develop in terms of the skills that you can see on the screen there now. So you'll be looking at drawing, looking at painting, looking at sculpture. We'll be using photography and moving image. We'll be using printmaking, and then eventually we will do some mixed media art, which is then combining multiple of those different techniques together at once to create an amazing final piece. Now in Year 10, what we'll do is you will have the opportunity to then create art within projects of all of these different techniques. And then in Year 11, you'll actually go, right, sir, I am really good at drawing, or I prefer doing painting. And then you will specialise in that area to create the best outcomes and the best projects in Year 11 that are really unique to you. Now, in terms of what a typical art lesson will look like, we will always follow the same structure in terms of whatever project you do in Year 10 and 11. We will always start off with you researching into artists, because we want you to steal and develop and learn from their ideas and techniques. So we will always start off the process by looking at a variety of different artists, if that's through me telling you some or you finding your own and developing them yourselves. From that, then you'll start to experiment with different materials and ideas of your own, using those artist styles to start to inform what you're doing and what you want to create. And then from that, naturally, you'll get better at your skills, better at your drawing, better at your painting. And then from that, then you'll take photo shoots and develop your own original final piece. That is the process which you will follow throughout Year 10, throughout Year 11, and throughout your exam project. Now, why should you take art? Ultimately, if you are someone that is individual, that is independent, that likes to be creative, that wants to have a practical lesson, then this is the course for you. And what we will always say, my motto is, if you come in and give me 100%, always try your best, and you have really good attendance to lessons, we will get you a really, really good grade out of art and design, because we will find a style, a technique, a material that you are really good at and you really enjoy using, and we will make amazing pieces of art using that. And in all my time teaching, I'm still yet to find a student that hasn't got a process or a material or a technique that they really enjoy and want to use to create art from. So it will be the exact same for you. Now, on the next couple of slides, what I'm going to do is just talk through some different black sheets that we've created, or I've had students create in the past. So what we'll do in art is we'll always present your project work on big black A2 sheets. And that's because that allows you to only present your best work, your best journey to the examiner when they come in to check and mark your work. So what we've got on the board is an example of a first sheet where someone has decided to complete their project around eating and taste, because her phobia at the time was she did not like to hear people eating. So she created her project around that, and that is an example of a really nice black sheet in terms of presenting that. On the next slide, what we've got here is some different examples of where people have done a similar board, where someone's looked at spiders and the phobia of spiders, or someone's looked at fragments and morphing faces together. Again, presenting their black sheets in a really, really nice way and completing a little bit of writing, just explaining what they've done and why they've made it. Another example where a student's focused in on their hobby and their interest, which was music and mod culture, and then from that they've experimented with different materials, trying out using pens, trying out using watercolour, trying out using pencil. So again, showing how you can experiment and develop with different materials in art. Further example of where someone has used an artist research page to create and learn how to use ink in terms of their artwork. An example of an experimentation sheet, and then an example again of another style of artwork. These are just a few examples of different pieces of work that you could use to create, and I'm sure you've seen in the art rooms that ultimately we can pick any material, any process, any artwork, and you can really cater your project around that. But I just thought I'd show some of those examples because they're really, really nice. At the end of each project, what you'll do is you'll then create a final piece. Now, your final pieces are the big showcase end artwork, which you'd see in a gallery, where you showcase your best final outcome, the best work from your project, the big lead up, all the research, all the development towards that final piece. Now, that final piece can be done on paper, like the examples that I've just shown on the screen, or we can look at getting in different materials, using wood, using canvases. You've got an example in the middle there where someone recycled an old mirror and turned their artwork into that. And then your final pieces can be really, really big, like those three on the screen, or really small, like the example I've got on the screen there now. Okay, so with your final pieces, again, they're really good, they're really creative. You get to spend 10+ hours crafting a really creative final piece of work, which you can be really, really proud of. There's just two more examples of really, really nice drawing pieces. Now, how will you be assessed in GCSE Art? Well, GCSE Art is made up of two different components. The first component is a coursework portfolio. Now, that is worth 60% of your final grade. Now, you will start that on day one in your lessons in September of year 10, and that portfolio will continue all the way until Christmas in year 11. So you will do that coursework project for well over a year. In that 60%, you will do a dreams and nightmares based project, which you will do with me first, where I will teach you lots of skills. You will practice and develop your painting, your drawing, your sculpture, your ability to use a camera and take photographs and do your first final piece. So that project is very catered by me, but you get to learn lots and lots of different skills. The second project in your coursework, you will then do a mini portrait project at the end of year 10, and then you will do a mock exam project where you will decide exactly what you want to do and you will practice ready for the exam using whatever materials and processes you are best at. That is your coursework. After Christmas in year 11, you will then get your exam paper. Now, the exam in art is nothing like an exam that you will have in any other subject, because you will get 2.5 months to prep and develop a project. So when you get into that 10-hour final piece exam, you will know exactly what you're doing. So between the January and the March, what we will do is you will practice, you will look at artists, you will decide on materials and techniques, you will experiment with ideas, and you will design that final piece. So by the time you get into that exam room with me, when you do that 10 hours in silence, you'll know exactly what you're doing, you'll have practiced it many times before, and actually what happens is a lot of students actually really, really enjoy the 10 hours because it's you just creating a piece of art with no distraction, knowing exactly what you're doing beforehand and practicing it before. And that is then worth 40%. After you've then completed that, I will then mark your work, and then someone by AQA called a moderator will come in and then check all the marks and ensure that you have been marked correctly. Now, why should you take art? This is a question that I get asked quite often. Now, the creative industry is one of the fastest growing in the UK. Now, what we mean by that is where a sector of jobs is growing constantly, okay? Where we see that now we have content creators, we have YouTubers, we have video designers, we have game designers, we have photographers, architects, fashion designers, textiles designers, movie makers, animators, advertising, journalism. There is so many different careers that are linked to art and the ability to create art and be creative. Similarly, employers now say that they want to see people in their employment that have lots of creative skills and are able to be creative in their thought process. So you developing those skills within art is something that is applicable to any career that you want to go into. So there is so many opportunities and avenues for you to follow afterwards if you decided that art was a course that you wanted to take. Now, if you have any other questions at all about the course, you want to learn anything more about the artwork that you want to create, then you're more than welcome to come and speak to me in G14. Also, I will be at the options evening and the parents evening we have coming up, so we'll then also be able to discuss that with your parents and family also. Thank you, Year 9, for listening.